Okay, now, well, okay, so I don't know on here.
Can you just send me the recording?
I can send, yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great.
You can do then whatever the heck you want with it.
Great.
And so, well, we're actually, are we recording now? Yeah, we are recording.
Yeah, you're recording.
Yeah, we are recording now. So, is there anything in particular that you would like me to ask you?
I think it'd be great if you asked me what's important to you and what the people you work with, what's important to them, and we can cover those things. I think it'd be great.
Okay, that would be great. And just, yeah, let's just go with the flow. So I've got a 24-year-old son who top and tails the videos for me. Like, he puts the intros and the outros on. So I got instructions yesterday, Mom, when you're recording, can you please just go, okay, I'm recording now. 1, 2, 3, have a break, and then start talking. So he knows where to slice it. So that's the drill. Okay. So we're going to start recording now. 1, 2, 3. Hi, and welcome once again to Can't Pick the Wrong Diva. I'm Anni Diamond, and I am so privileged today because I've got somebody really, really special from the other side of the world to come and have a chat with us about the headspace and what it takes, when you're dealing with disease, but particularly cancer, as you know, that's the subject that we're really focused on at the moment. So Scott Schmaren, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me tell you a little bit about Scott. He is, let me tell you, he's a little bit special. He's a little bit famous. He's been on Oprah, and we're going to come back to that because I really want to ask you a little bit about Oprah as well, just off topic. And Scott is a hypnotherapist, an NLP practitioner, and his certification goes on and on and on. And I'll list some of those certifications for you once we actually put the video out. So Scott, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Thanks, Anne, for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Great. So you and I had a little chat prior to recording today on what it takes mentally to navigate not just disease, but disasters, whether they be emotional, financial, spiritual, on family, on any level. So you work with lots and lots of people. Can you just start by sharing, what's important to you when you're working with patients, and probably what's more importantly, what's important to those patients? What is it that they want from you?
Well, we're talking specifically about cancer. Somebody who's going through the journey in the process of going through cancer and treatment, one has to have the expectation that they are going to get better. They've got to have that. If they don't have that, what's the point? Nothing positive is going to happen. It's like you're going on a great vacation. You got to know where you're going, or you're not going to know when you get there. So you got to have the expectation of getting better. And then everything else, we can put the pieces in place as far as minimizing their reaction to the side effects of some of the treatments they may receive, and also really creating an image for them to focus on of what their life's going to look like when they get past this journey. Your subconscious mind is really a kind of a cool thing. I call it the all-powerful king. It'll do whatever you tell it to do. However, it has the mentality of a 2-year-old. It takes everything literally. So if you're focusing on all the negative things like, oh my God, I'm going to die, or this is going to be terrible, what do you think you're going to get? What are you putting your energy into? So I help them create this vision of what their life's going to look like. Healthy, free to live and achieve what they want to achieve. And then install that deeply in their subconscious mind, because it will accept whatever you give it with purpose and conviction, whether it's real or unreal, is the truth. And then it'll drive towards it, which is what it does anyway. So that's the expectation of getting well and beyond is the single most important thing you can focus on.
Well, I would agree with that, because as most of the people watching today would know, I have navigated stage 4 colorectal cancer myself for the last 4 years. And certainly winning that war way ahead of the battle when my own doctors told me 18 months ago that all they could offer me was palliative chemo and radiation. And I know for a fact that if I didn't have the mindset that I have, there's no way I would be this far ahead of the journey, because when someone gives you a death sentence, I think immediately you just want to, you want to curl up in a ball and cry, or, why me? And I can honestly say that never entered my mind. So I think that, you know, for me, that was a gift from source, and I'm very, very blessed to have that. But most people don't. Now, you've spent over 20 years finding successful strategies for people to work with to walk through this. I'm going to just call it fear at the end of the day, because, like, you know, we do have,
I agree.
Yeah. So, you know, what are some of the strategies that you use, or strategies that you could share that people could maybe practice at home, you know, if they're too unwell to go and see a practitioner?
Okay. There's some simple things that you can do. One of the simple things you can do is start to write out how you want your life to be. And the reason writing things out in your own handwriting is extremely powerful is we know now, neuroscientists have taught us that when we write things out in our own handwriting, we believe them to be true. So start writing them out. And how do you want to write them out? If you're trying to write out, you've been given a diagnosis of cancer, you've given some other thing, or you're trying to achieve something in your life, write out how you want the story to end. And write it out as if it's already happened now, using phrases like I am and I have. Owning those things now. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between the past, present, and future, real and unreal. So if you give it a powerful picture, handwriting it out, it'll accept it as a truth. What neuroscientists have taught us is that when we write things out in our own handwriting, we believe them to be true, even if they're not. So start writing it out. I am and I have. And when you start to write things out, and then the future, you go back and look at those things, and you find those became the future realities. Those were the stories of your future realities by writing them out now. I look at the things I wrote out years ago. I used to weigh 360 pounds.
Wow.
So I've lost and kept off 180 pounds for a long time now. And it started out with me writing out a simple phrase every day, is that I have a strong, healthy, lean, attractive, youthful body weighing 175 pounds or less. Now, I wasn't when I started writing it out, and I just wrote it out thousands and thousands of times. And we make change two ways. One is through repetition over and over again, good or bad, products of our environment. So if you write something out you really want over and over again, at some point your subconscious mind will accept it as the truth. And the other way, of course, we make change very rapidly is in a deep hypnotic state, in a highly emotionally charged state. We can make change very, very quickly. So simply writing things out, writing out how you want it to be as if it has already happened, is important. And the other thing you want to write out is you want to move towards what you want, not away from where you are now. For example, if you are struggling with cancer, you don't want to write out, I no longer have cancer. You want to write out that I am healthy, strong, vital, young, and powerful, or something similar to that. Moving away from what you want, or excuse me, moving towards what you want, not away from where you are now. Because what will end up happening is you'll end up focusing on the negative things you're writing out.
I'm glad you actually reframed that, because when you were talking about that, in my head, I'm writing on my piece of paper beside me, you know, I have a cancer-free body. But what you're saying actually is remove the cancer completely.
You don't want to. Exactly.
Okay.
So what you're doing is you're focusing energy on something negative. Even though the statement is positive, what you're focusing on is negative, and you're just feeding energy into that. You don't want to do that.
Oh, great. I'm so glad that you reframed that for us. Now, I also know that you're an EFT practitioner, and there's going to be a lot of people watching today that don't know what EFT is. So can you share a little bit about that, and maybe we can do a bit?
Well, EFT is emotional freedom technique, and it's another way of tapping into the unlimited power of your subconscious mind. And what it is was based on different acupressure points in a series. And truthfully, the series can change. It doesn't have to be the same. There's a standard way of doing it. The reality is that it, from my perspective, it interrupts the pattern that you are using in your thinking process and changes it and allows you to reframe it and change it. And it takes away some of the energy from it. You know, what happens is we get upset about something. And then all we think about is that something that upsets us. And we don't want to feel that way, so what we try to do is we try to ignore it. And we push it away. But it doesn't get pushed away. What happens is, it's like anything. If I push you, you're going to push back. Mm-hmm. So if we have something negative in our life, we don't want to feel this way. And our societies tell us that we're supposed to be happy and joyful and wonderful all the time, but we're not. There are human emotions that we have, and they're okay to have. and they're okay feelings to have. And the worst thing you do is to push them away. What you need to do is step into them, experience them, and then question them, and then release them and let them go. EFT is a tool for that. You use hypnosis for a tool for that. And one of the things I'd recommend to all of your people that are going through this journey is when those negative emotions come up, don't try to push them away. Don't try and hide from them. Embrace them. Step into those feelings. Feel those feelings. And then ask yourself this question. What about this makes me feel this way? You're going to get an answer right away, and it's not going to be the right answer. It's going to be your ego giving you a very simple, quick, easy answer to dismiss you. And then you need to ask the question, what about that makes me feel this way? And keep asking that question until you get down to something very simple that's to the core, like you mentioned, fear. Fear of what? And then give yourself permission. Ask yourself if it's okay to simply let it go. And what happens is you dispense and get rid and discharge the energy in that situation. And then it starts to fade away. It may come back again, but each time it'll come back a little bit less. Go through the same process. Step into the whatever you're experiencing, no matter how negative it is. Start questioning it. What about it makes me feel this way? Question the answer. What about that makes me feel that way? And you start to get rid of that energy. It just dissipates. And then you can go on. And when you're not doing it, you're not pushing it inside of you and having it build up and get stronger. Many people, I'm not going to say everybody, that have cancer, the reason they have cancer is because of the negative energy that's built up inside of them over the years from traumatic situations, the environment they grew up in, on things they've never really gone through and gotten rid of, and they just pushed it away. They've hidden from it. And what happens? At some point, it has to manifest in some way. And so what happens? Your immune system's not what it should be. Can't get rid of the things in your body that you get rid of, and then things start to manifest and change inside of you. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Absolutely, it does. Is it possible that we can just do a quick tap and show people what it looks like and what they should be going through? I know that, there's lots of...
And they can look online, too, for also some simple tapping charts. But basically what you do is you start with the palm under here, in the palm of your hand, and you start tapping and expressing your negative feelings, like, even though I feel this way, whatever it is, maybe negative emotions, maybe fear of dying, whatever it is, the treatment of having to go through what I'm going through in my cancer journey, even though I feel this way, I completely, totally accept myself in every way possible. I love myself unconditionally, and tap it. And then you start, again, expressing the negative feelings, starting with different tapping points. I've seen people do it in different ways. Starting here, tapping a little bit here, sides, under here, collarbone, under the arm, and then doing it again until you feel a dissipation in the energy. Like what you want to do is when you start it, is you want to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 of how much angst it's costing you and how much it is afterwards. And then after you've tapped through once negative, start tapping through on how you want to feel, how I want to be, and maybe go through a few rounds of that. Well, even simple things, just tapping here in the center of your chest, I'm doing it a little bit high, in the center of your collarbone, or excuse me, in your sternum, is a very powerful way of releasing negative feelings or negative energy. And just that simple thing is expressing your negative feelings, getting them out of you, and tapping. And also, a great, your mind loves stories and metaphors. A great thing to do is if you want to get rid of the negative energy, man, write it out. Type yourself a letter, handwrite a letter about how horrible it is, how miserable you are, how awful it is, how life is terrible, how life sucks, and you just don't care anymore, and blah, 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 blah. Write it out, and then destroy it. If you want to make a great metaphor out of it, burn it. And what you have is you get rid of that energy that way also. Because we're so worried about, I'm feeling these negative things, I don't want to feel this way, I'm going to ignore it because I shouldn't feel this way. But the best thing you do is to get rid of it, acknowledge and get rid of it. And there are so many different simple ways. And then in the same token, writing out how you want to feel, you want to be healthy and strong, put it in a box of little notes of things that are your reality. Create a box.
Yeah.
Put those in there.
Writing it out, I had, and even though I feel like I'm the most positive person I know, I still have moments, and I allow myself those moments. And I can remember, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 months ago, I couldn't sleep, and I don't know why, I just got really upset in the middle of the night. So I came downstairs to my computer, And I got onto Facebook and I started pouring my guts out. It was like an epic that I wrote. And I didn't know whether to post it or not. Anyway, I hit the post button. Wow, it's amazing who else was awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, because instantly I started getting messages of support. Well, within about 3 hours, I had over 100 people come back to me with positive messages. And then a friend of mine phoned me and said, I'm coming to pick you up at 9 o'clock in the morning. No excuses. You just better be ready out the front of your house, and we're going out for the day. And it was absolutely what I needed. It gave me that shift. So you're absolutely right. You know, when you pour it out, the universe just gave me exactly what I needed at the right moment.
And sometimes when it's negative, you may not want to pour it out and share it. I can't tell you how many times I've been really angry at somebody, and I will write the most horrible, terrible, nasty email that never gets sent. And what happens is I'm getting all the energy out of me. And usually if I would have sent that email, it probably wouldn't have been the smartest thing to do, because I know that when I'm emotionally upset, the decision process I have is probably not the best. However, getting it out is important. So I can write it out, I can send an email out, I can type an email and not send it out, and I'm getting it out of me, and then I can just delete it. And literally delete it from my email and delete it from myself.
Well, we're on the same page. In the early 80s, I was a secretary many lifetimes ago. And my employer wrote the crappiest letters, really, really bad letters. And so I would type them up and I would just sit on them overnight. And then the next day, give him the letter back and say, you know what, did you really want to send this? And that was in the days, of course, before computers. We had the old IBM typewriters. But you're exactly right. At least download. Makes you feel better. So,
absolutely.
Moving forward, I want to talk to you now about more about hypnotherapy. So can it be done via Skype, or can it be done via distance, or is it best, you know, in that one-on-one situation?
Yes. So all of those things. It can be done by Skype. I have clients all over the world, and I work with them over the telephone. Now, we don't do the hypnosis part of it on the phone. We spend some time talking like you and I are speaking now. And I take a lot of notes on the things they say, and that helps me construct a hypnosis session for them that'll work for them. And then I'll go into my studio, record it, and email it to them. I know many practitioners that work by Skype. And yes, it can be done that way. It doesn't have to be face-to-face. We're face-to-face now, but it doesn't have to be done in person.
So I want to just quickly share my experience with a friend of mine who's a hypnotherapist in Australia. I was having hypothermia. Now, some of you will know and some won't know what that is, but hypothermia is where you go into this, it's a hospital bed, but it has a canopy over it with lights, and they heat your body up 40 degrees and above. So what they're trying to do is get your body into a fever state so that it can fight the cancer itself. So often they'll run an IV of vitamin C or curcumin at the same time. So it's a pretty uncomfortable process. And I had about 20 of these therapies. They weren't nice, but, you know, I managed okay. And then I don't know what happened, but my mind just went, hang on a second, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't like it. I'm done. I'm over it. And my doctor kept saying, you know, you need to have this. You need to do this. And so I phoned my friend, and he came and sat with me for 2 hours while I was in that chamber and just spoke to me. So can you describe what, you know, being in a hypnotherapy session is like? Because it was totally different for me than I ever thought it would be. I don't know what I thought it would be, but it was just like talking to a friend. And yet, from that day to this, I've never had an issue doing that again, not once.
Interesting. Well, it's interesting. I think most people have a very negative connotation to the word hypnosis.
Yes.
Think of a stage show where they think they're going to be losing control of themselves, that somebody's going to be manipulating them, and they're going to be clucking like a chicken or barking like a dog.
That's true.
And the reality is, it's simply a monofocused state of mind where you're focused only on one thing and everything else just fades away in the background, and you access that doorway into your subconscious mind, which allows you to make permanent change. And that's where all permanent change takes place. We're in and out naturally of a hypnotic state all the time. I don't know how many people say, well, I can't be hypnotized, or how do I know if I can be hypnotized? You're in and out of that state all day long. A good example is, how many of you drive your car to work every day? You drive the same way. You get in the car, you get to work, and you have absolutely no idea whatsoever how you got there, yet you didn't kill anybody or run any traffic lights. How did you do that? Or if you watch a really great movie in a movie theater, and you're totally lost in the movie, and it's 2-3 hours, and you're engrossed by this great movie, and the movie ends, and it seems like 5 or 10 minutes went by. That's a hypnotic state. It is the single most powerful state of change. We think that we do everything consciously. The reality is we do about 10 to 15% of what we do on our daily life in a conscious basis, and everything else is on autopilot. I mean, think about it. When you learn how to drive, right, you got in the car, you had to think about checking your mirrors to the left and to the right, to the rear. You had to think about where the gas pedal was, where your hands were on the steering wheel. Do you do that now? No, you just get in the car and drive because you know how to do it. It was turned over to your subconscious mind once you had the process learned. So it's an easy way to access the subconscious mind with conscious control. You're giving your subconscious mind direction. If you don't give it direction, it's going to find something to do, and it's not always going to do the right thing. What it's going to do, sometimes it'll find a bad thing and then rationalize why it's good. So it's a way for you to gain control of your subconscious mind and then do so. I mean, you have no clue. Your subconscious mind controls even your bodily functions, not just your emotions, your feelings, your habits. It's the heart beating in your chest, the blood coursing through your veins. Let me tell you, can I tell you a story?
Sure.
I have a client of mine that I work with who was an engineer. And originally he came to me and I helped him with his golf game. And I get a call from him one day and saying, I need to come and see you. I'll tell you when I get there. And when he came to see me, he told me that he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And we worked together. One, the expectation of him getting better, speedy recovery. And for most men, they want to make sure they can still perform as a man after having prostate cancer. So I worked with him. He interviewed a bunch of surgeons. He found the best surgeon he needed to have surgery. And so a couple of days before his surgery, we worked on a session that I recorded for him that he could stick in his iPhone that would allow him, right before surgery, to go in the surgery, control his vital signs, and speed up his healing and recovery process, take control of everything that's going on in his body. So he's going to spend one night in the hospital. He has the surgery on a Friday night. Surgery goes perfect. Listens to his recording. Then about 1 o'clock on Saturday morning, somebody made a major blunder in the hospital. He was given an overdose of heparin, which is a blood thinner. A lethal dose of heparin. And instantly he started bleeding everywhere. He was hemorrhaging, his blood pressure was dropping, and it was 1 o'clock in the morning. It's a Saturday morning now. So now they're trying to find the emergency surgeon on call who is already in another surgery and is not available. So now they're preparing his wife that he's going to die. He's bleeding, he's hemorrhaging everywhere, and in a moment of clarity, he pulled out his iPhone and he listened to his recording. In 15 minutes, he raised his blood pressure 30 points. They operated on him 2 hours later. At 3 o'clock in the morning, they finally were able to perform surgery. He has a lethal dose of heparin inside of him, and everywhere he was hemorrhaging, his blood had now clotted. They had no explanation for it, and he was able to take control of his own bodily functions through his subconscious mind and save his own life. That's how powerful our minds are, and we don't realize that. We take it for granted, and we're not taught that we're able to do things like that. I've seen people do some pretty miraculous things.
That is an awesome story. Oh my goodness. So that made me then think of something else as you were sharing that. So, if you can do that, then why can't you tell your cancer to leave your body?
Why can't you?
That's exactly right. Good question.
You absolutely can. And many people have done that exactly. Is they don't. Here's the issue most people have, and whether it's working with cancer, I have people with depression, anxiety, stress, whatever it is. Sometimes they take ownership of those things.
Yes.
Okay. All of a sudden it becomes my cancer, my disease, and they've given it a life and an entity. And what happens is when we own things, we don't like to give them up. So consciously we want to change, but then in our mind says, wait a minute, this is us. This is who we are. Again, your subconscious mind will rationalize something bad. And if it's something you're familiar with and you're comfortable with, it'll say, okay, we're not going to change. So it finds ways to sabotage the things you're trying to change. I see it happen all the time. We have resistance. It's what causes an alcoholic or a drug addict. They know that they have something they're doing is wrong, but yet they keep doing it because their mind allows them to rationalize it against what their norm is. You know, we were always taught that man's greatest need is survival. We hear that all the time through our history, but the reality is our greatest need is familiarity, because we will choose a habit we are familiar with, even if it will kill us, than to face change, because change is scary. That word fear comes up again. So we can do anything, except that we put limits on ourselves that prevent us from doing that.
That's it. And, you know, I know there's going to be people watching this today that still, you know, think that hypnotherapy is left of center, it's woo-woo, it doesn't work, it's hocus pocus. You know, I think for those people, if they can just be open, because what you're saying is, you know, what we're addicted to is familiarity. So for those people listening, it's the same for them. This is familiar to them, or that feeling, those thoughts are familiar. But if they can just be open to something different, I think that everybody should experience hypnotherapy. We're not saying that it's going to cure your cancer, but for me, just to have the right mindset to navigate this journey, and from my own personal experience and the patients that I see as a holistic cancer educator, I don't know, 90% of the people that I see are actually preparing to die, not preparing to live. They've taken they've taken the prognosis given to them by their doctor, and then they take ownership of that, where I never did. When my doctor said to me, all we can give you is palliative chemo and radiation, I've gone, don't think so. That's not me. And that's not me being in denial. That's me not owning the disease. And I just said, you know what? If you can't save me, I'll save myself.
Good.
So, you know, I want people to know that just by having a mind shift, the tiniest of mind shifts, anything is possible. And if you can't do it alone, I would strongly suggest, we'll put Scott's details out there for you, and you can reach out to him. Or, you know, if you've got somebody local, that's up to you. But I would highly recommend that you just be open, have one experience, and then decide for yourself whether or not you would like to walk further forward with that. But I certainly recommend it.
Just to give you an idea how powerful your subconscious mind is.
Yeah.
Many times when someone goes to the doctor, they're given a misdiagnosis of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been instances where people were diagnosed with a cancer that they never had. They were told they had 6 months to live. What do you think happened 6 months later? They died. And they never had cancer. That's how powerful your subconscious mind is. Hypnosis saved my life. I was at a low point in my life. I'm a giant. I'm 5 feet 6 inches tall. I'm not a very tall person. Sometimes I lie and I say I'm 5'7". And at my peak, I weighed 360 pounds. I was huge. And I had tried everything in my life, and I gave up on myself. And it's saved my life. And I don't think I'm any different than anybody else. I don't think I'm special. I don't think I'm any more disciplined or hardworking than anybody else. It changed my life. And if I can do these things for myself, certainly you can do those things you want to do for yourself. Absolutely.
You mentioned before that hypnotherapy, you know, we actually are in a state of hypnotherapy when we're driving our car and doing those jobs that are very familiar to us every day, brushing our teeth, whatever. So when somebody's got an issue, whether it's cancer or just any other issue, can they hypnotize themselves?
Yes.
Okay, so how do we do that?
That's real simple. One, you should learn how to do it, but one of the simplest things you have that controls your mind is your breath. And one of the things you can do when you're upset is to start controlling your breathing. How do you do that? You start breathing deeply. If you can, breathe through your nose. You breathe deeply, and you want to breathe low from your belly. So breathing in deeply and just filling up your lungs, and just exhale out slowly. And what they found, there was a good book written in the 1970s by a Harvard medical professor, Dr. Herbert Benson. It's called The Relaxation Response, which is the induction of hypnosis or the meditative state. The same thing. It slows down your brain. gets you into a more relaxed state, and allows you, one, to focus, and allows you to get rid of some stress and anxiety. And so just simply doing that 4, 5, 6 times, breathing deeply, exhaling out, focusing your attention on your breath. And what happens? Your mind starts to slow down. The hypnotic state is the same as your dreaming state. It's between alpha and theta on the brainwave scale. And in that state, you can make change. So what do? You start to breathe slowly, continuing to focus on your breath, and thinking about what you really want in your life. Who you are, what you are, how you want to be, and do that. And if you want to make it even more powerful, lie in bed at night as you're going to sleep and do that. And as you're falling asleep, think about how you want to be. Whatever it is in life, how you want the outcome to be, not where you are now, but where you want to be. And allow yourself to go to sleep on it. It's extremely powerful.
Absolutely. When I was first diagnosed, every night I would actually put headphones on and just listen to healing meditations.
Good.
And I think that was so good for me. And I do it sort of in fits and starts, honestly. You know, I'd love to say I do it every single day, but I just have to fess up and slap myself and confess. But I love it. And when I do, I always feel better. Although, you know, having said that, I've got a detox order that I jump in almost religiously every single day. And really, that's my meditative time. That's where I actually can go, like, internalize and breathe and just focus on my own healing. So you're absolutely right. Now, question. What are some of the things that people can use hypnotherapy for? Like quit smoking, sports performance, making more sales.
You can help with anything. My clients have ranged from CEOs of companies, salespeople, athletes, children with issues. Pick anything. I have not found anything I cannot use it for yet. It's a tool. It's a tool to access the great part of your mind that can tap into the universe, tap into all your creativity, your imagination, your skills, your resources, and do really anything if you use it. You know, and I would say also for your people that are listening to this and watching this, is the two most important tools you have in your tool bag are patience and persistence. For a lot of people will start to do this, and if they don't get the instant results that they want right away, they quit. You know, we live in a world where everything's now, now, now. Patience and persistence. Have the patience. However long it's going to take you to heal, that's how long it's going to take. Patience is how you handle that time until you get there. And persistence, there are going to be obstacles and challenges that are going to be in your road. Then you have a decision to make. When you reach one of those obstacles and challenges, do you quit and turn around and run away and give up? Or you push through. And a lot of times when you push through, when you get to the other side, it really wasn't as bad as you thought it was. It was simply that little funny word, fear, in your head that made it far worse than it was. Patience and persistence. If you look at some of the most highly productive, successful people, whether it's business, religious leaders, world leaders, whatever it is, you have the two things they have in their tool bag they use more than anything else is they were patient and they were persistent.
Yeah, I agree with you. And if you can live by patience and persistence, then you know what? I just find that you don't sweat the small stuff. You know, each time you hit a bump in the road, well, that's all it is. You know, if we're in our car and we hit a bump in the road, we keep moving forward. We don't stop on the bump.
You're right.
It's exactly the same in life. And, you know, I think if we're walking just one foot in front of the other every day, walking towards whatever it is that we want, and in my case, of course, it's to have a totally healed, you know, energetic body. And so I do stuff every single day. And even on the days where I'm tired, yes, I'll listen to my body, but I will still walk forward. I'll still get in my detox on. I'll still go out and have a lovely walk and get sunshine on my body. And so if you're watching and you're stuck at home in bed and you think that you can't do anything, you know, baby steps, you can. And
yes,
I implore you to reach out, you know, to Scott, to anybody that can help you. If you can't do it by yourself, then you've got to get help. And there's no shame in asking for help.
No, in fact, it's a sign of strength. It's interesting you say that. You know, I would divide my clients into two types of people. The most highly successful people I work with, they're extremely powerful, they're very wise. They know what they know well, and the things they don't know well, they will ask for help, and they will reach out and ask for help because they see that as a sign of strength. And then there's people that are struggling with every single issue in their life, every aspect of their life. And when they won't ask you for help, I'll be in between sessions and they won't reach out because they don't want to bother you. They feel it's weakness to ask for help. Knowing what you know is great. There's always somebody else that knows something you don't know, and to ask for help and to reach out, it's a symbol of strength. And, you know, it's interesting you're talking about you have a daily routine you follow. The quality of your life will be in direct proportion to the quality of your daily routine. You know, it's like, I always say it's like working out. Okay, you got to set up a routine for your mind on a regular basis for it to be fit and to be healthy. It's like working out. You can't go to a gym one time and work out once and have the perfect body for the rest of your life. It'd be a wonderful thing, but it doesn't happen that way. And your mind is the exact same way.
You know, I think for me, the things that I focus on in my daily routine is exercise, is having good nutrition, good food in my body, good air, because we know highly oxygenated body, cancer can't thrive, can't grow in a highly oxygenated body. And getting oxygen into your body is really easy. It's free. All you've got to do is walk in the sunshine, do some exercise, be out in nature. So that's easy. And good water. I drink good quality alkaline water. So everybody can fit a little walk. And if you're not well enough, maybe buy a rebounder and just sit on a chair and just lift your heels on and off the rebounder. And if you can only do 5 minutes, you know what? 5 minutes is better than nothing. And maybe in a week's time, you'll be doing 6 minutes or 7 minutes. So, you know, don't make excuses. And if you're that victim out there, then all the more reason that you need Scott or someone like Scott to walk you through that. Because you don't need to be a victim to this disease. I'm telling you. I'm no different from you out there. I am not special. I'm just a woman, a mother, a wife, a grandmother that just had a shitty diagnosis and prognosis that I would not take ownership of. I never went into that victim mentality. And as I said before, I feel truly blessed because I've got a positive nature anyway. But if you're one of those people that don't and you've fallen into victim mentality, the best thing that you can do for yourself is to change your headspace. Then everything else is easy. It'll be easy to put good food into your body. It will be easy to get out and do a little bit of daily exercise. But if this is not right, then nothing else will be right either. Agree?
It makes complete and total sense. You're absolutely right.
So now you've written a fabulous book called Stepping Stones to Success. Share a little bit about that with us.
The chapter I wrote in the book is really a chronology of my life and my journey. I'm in the process of writing another book, which will be more on processes, which the title of that book will be, it's called Yes, Creating and Living the Life of Your Dreams in 30 minutes a day. And I have some other stuff that's in the works right now that I'm working on.
Oh, fantastic. And I know that you co-authored that book with Jack Canfield, Deepak Chopra, and a few others. I actually spent a week with Jack Canfield in Maui, in his home there, a couple of years ago. And it was such a special time. And that also was really great for my headspace. Just
I'm sure.
Quite an amazing journey. Now, we're just going to sidetrack a little bit here. Tell us about Oprah.
What do you want to know?
Wow, I want to know why you were on Oprah, first of all.
It was a long time ago, and I had lost a lot of weight, and I fulfilled one of my dreams of running the Chicago Marathon. This was, when I say a long time, it was 25 years ago. And she, at that time, was in Chicago, and she had just lost weight on one of her crazy diets. And she was doing what I call her wagon of fat show, where we wheeled out a wagon of fat with all the weight that she lost as a representation. And a local news reporter did a story on me because I was raising money for a charity, and my story was interested in losing weight and running the Chicago Marathon. And at that time, she didn't have her own studios. She was in the same building as this TV station in the Chicago area. and they saw them editing the piece. And I remember I was on the road at that time. This was in the 1980s, before we had cell phones and GPSs, and I was at a furniture market. I was actually selling upholstery fabrics. And I was calling in from a payphone, calling in an order, and my office said the Oprah Winfrey Show called you, and they would like you to call them. So I thought they were kidding. And they told me they saw the piece. They told me they were being marketed by every weight loss program with a person they wanted to put on the show, and they saw my story, and they wanted to follow me on my journey. So they sent a camera crew with me to the race. They filmed me at the race, and then I was a guest on the show. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I'll bet it was. You know what? We don't want so well. Some people call it a bucket list. I've never had a bucket list. I have a hell yeah list. All of these hell yeah things I want to do, and one of them is actually to be on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Sure.
I reckon I'd have a great time with her. So yeah.
Why not?
That's it. Why not? So we need to wind it up. So what I would like to ask you though is if you had, say, what would be your top 3 tips for people to help get them at least walking towards being in the right headspace to navigate distress and disease?
I don't even know if I need to give them. I have 3 things. One is practice on your breath. Take 5 minutes every day and just work on breathing. Breathe in slowly, fully, through your nose, exhale out through your mouth, and just learn and teach yourself to relax. Get rid of some of the stress and anxiety. You can do 5 minutes comfortably, go to 10, go to 15, go to 20. You don't have to do more than 20 if you want to, that's great. 2, I start writing out how I want my life to be, as if it's already happened now. Let it be the future stories of your success and your reality. Third thing I would do is every night when I go to bed, I think about those future realities as I'm slowly breathing in and breathing out, and allow myself to fall asleep with those thoughts on my mind. Because your subconscious mind is up 24/7, and you might as well give it something good to focus on while you're sleeping, because it'll try and figure out how to make it happen. Because that's what it's supposed to do.
Fantastic.
3 simple, powerful things.
And if people want to reach out to you, have a consultation with you, how do they do that? How do they find you?
If somebody wants to email me, they can. It's scott@ultimatevisionarymind.com.
Too easy.
Too easy. Or you can just go to my website and contact me through there, which is ultimatevisionarymind.com.
Scott, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. Well, it's my morning. I know it's your evening over there. So once again, thank you so much. You've been fun to chat with today. And,
thank you.
And I look forward to getting over there and seeing you.
I'm ready whenever you are.
Well, I'm hoping early next year. So
great.
That would be super. So once again, thank you, bless you, and take care.
Thanks for having me.